자, 쌤 베트남 남학 연재기득. Psych, this video is not going to be in Mongolian. Today I'm going to talk about how memory training is actually helpful for your real life. I got this question the most when I memorized the IKEA catalog of 2018. Long story short, people watched that video and they thought, well, that's neat and cool and all, but how's that helpful for me? Which is funny because people don't usually watch like the Olympics and see Simone Biles do pirouettes and flips and go, well, that's nice and all, but how's that helpful for me? There is one aspect of it, which is the competitive and the entertainment, but then the practical aspect is that Simone in her own life is probably benefiting a lot from being so athletic. It's probably helping her mental health and her physical health a lot. In the same way, memory training, there is a competitive and an entertaining aspect to it, but there's also the real life application. It doesn't mean that just because you're good at memorizing in a competitive setting that you have a better memory, but you do have a better memory compared to your own self. So for example, it is helpful in studying because you're learning to connect new information with old information and what you already know with what you want to know. It helps with remembering things in your day-to-day life because you have this habit. So because you have this memorizing mindset, when you forget words or you forget names or facts or figures, you're more likely to try to think of what it is and try to connect the dots instead of just saying, oh, I don't know, let's just give up. So the third thing is that it's helpful for languages and tip of the tongue syndrome. Would have been funny if I forgot what tip of the tongue syndrome was. Tip of the tongue syndrome is when you have something on the tip of your tongue. You know that you should know this information. And what I've noticed since doing memory training is that I have a higher tendency to not give up, and I try to look for where I can connect the dots to try to find what it is I'm thinking of, or try to name an actress or name something. That is just the basics of it. I don't think that just because memory training is so abstract that it's not helpful in your real life. Actually, there are two people who talk about this a lot. There's Joshua Waitzkin, another Josh. He wrote this book, The Art of Learning, where he talks about how he used to be a chess grandmaster and then he wanted to become a Tai Chi champion, and I'm not going to spoil the book. As he became better at Tai Chi, he realized there were lessons and things he learned from Tai Chi that were helpful for him in chess, and things in chess helped him become better at Tai Chi. Even though these two things seem very not connected or very disparate, your brain starts to find the connections. And with memory training, I think it trains your brain better to try to find the connections, but also trust your power within, that you can actually remember and things can come to your mind more easily. Einstein would play the violin when he had a problem in theoretical physics that he couldn't solve or work through. You'd think that violin and theoretical physics don't have anything to do with each other, but it was actually that there was some sort of neurological overlap, that training one thing helped the other. And the same thing with memory training might actually help you learn Russian, for example. I can give a practical example. I know somebody who's memorized more than 2,000 simplified Chinese characters in a month. That is the extreme. You don't have to do this. She memorized things by first making pictographics and memorized things by making, for example, the symbol for tree into an actual shape of a tree, and then 2 trees become woods, and then 3 trees become forests, and all this other stuff. So then it helps build her knowledge of the basic characters of Chinese so that she can understand other bigger characters that involve more of these tiny details. A lot of people say this works. I don't personally use this for memorizing Chinese characters. I might in the future. It's all about what works for you, and as you start becoming more fluent in memory training and in using memory techniques, you start to realize what works for you better than what works for others. When it comes to the studying aspect, I know somebody who learned 5 years of theoretical physics actually in 3 months during their summer holiday. For myself, I got my bachelor's degree in 2 years instead of 3, the regular 3 to 4 years, because I used memory techniques when I was learning the different financial derivative equations, etc. And this was while I was working, helping my family out, and competing and traveling. I'm just saying, the memory training is not something we should push aside completely. There's even been studies, not many of them, but the few studies that have been done are very compelling for the fact that memory training in its purest form, just for the sake of memory training, actually helps your brain increase its memory capacity. And I also think there's lots of things left to discover about memory training, like how it might be more effective for mindfulness than meditation, or how it might be an antidepressant. And there's lots of stuff that I would like to study personally, so if you are a scientist and you want to work on proving some of that stuff, talk to me, write me on youtube.com or on facebook.com or on yanjaa.com or on instagram.com, although that would be weird if you were a scientist and you wanted to DM me on Instagram. This has been a Memory Monday. Memory Monday. Memory Monday. I'm never gonna sing again during Memory Monday. I hope it's been helpful and useful, and if you do have questions or comments, please put them publicly in a comment place anywhere. So yeah, I hope that was memorable enough for you to remember to use in your daily life. See you next week. Ooh, what else? On Thursday, I'm gonna go to Nashville to record a memory thing, so that is helpful for my life because it's become my job to do memory stuff. So that's cool. Yep. Bye. Bye.